Hi my loves, so today I'm going to be doing a makeup tutorial. It is going to be a long one, and I know I haven't been on YouTube in a while, to be honest. Also, new background, not really new background, but mainly just different angle of the background. But I know I haven't been on YouTube in a while. Let's not talk about it. Let's just have some fun with makeup. So if you would like to see how I got this look, grab your snacks, grab your drinks, you know, get a warm blanket because it is winter outside right now where I am. Stay bundled, stay warm, and enjoy the rest of this video. Alrighty, so I know this is going to be a long one, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started and do my makeup because honestly it is a process, and now that I have no brows, there are a few new steps that I take during my makeup routine. Also, I am just waking up. I just showered and got ready, so I'm still kind of in the process of waking up, so if my voice is a little cracky here and there, don't mind that. I'm gonna go ahead and take my MAC Studio Finish Concealer. This is an NC20. I used to love this for cleaning up my brows, but now I use it to kind of cover them up, because if you notice, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera, but I have like a shadow of where my brow is actually, like where it would actually be if I grew it out, just because I have darker hair, so the pigment shows underneath my skin. So what I do is I just kind of take this product and just put it on top of my brow, and then I bring it slightly up, because when I clean up my eyes and do my foundation, I don't want to have to go too close to my eyeshadow with the foundation, since that's a liquid and the shadow is powder, so sometimes to get that even blend is going to be hard. So pulling this up makes it a lot easier. Now I'm just going in and applying some of my MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre. I'm using shadows that are known to be prone to issues and blending, so I'm just trying to use a base, sorry my phone, that has a little bit more of a drier texture, but still will allow my shadows to build and blend on top. So the paint pots, in my opinion, are one of the most best options for when you want to use a drier base or a more dry base that still will give you the opportunity to build and blend shadows on top of it, because these dry down to really matte finish. So I want to try something new. I normally go from lightest to darkest in my shadow because I just find that it blends the most easy, but I do have dry lids, so sometimes the darker colors that I apply don't stick as well because of the fact that I already have a powder setting my base, so they don't have any tackiness to stick to anymore on my primer. So I'm gonna go ahead, and today I want to use the, what are these called? The Armed and Gorgeous palette and the Dark Magic palette by Jaclyn Hill. These are part of the Vault collection. I know they're super controversial and just a lot of people don't really love the brand or love her. They think that she always tries to sell things, but regardless, I thought that the colors were really pretty and I wanted to try them anyway, and I did get them with my Ulta rewards points, so I actually didn't pay anything for these, so I figured it was a good time to try it out. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do something more green tone, so I'm gonna go with Inside Job, and it may look a little bit more of a black on camera. I don't know if it's really showing that green tone, but it does have a slight greenish tone to it, so I'm going to take that. I'm using a MAC 221 brush, and I think what I'm gonna do is I'll do this on the outer corner. I'll do my typical placement of shadow since I want to try this new method, so I won't go too crazy. I have tried this method before with going with the dark shades first, but I found that it didn't work out the way that I wanted it to. But I think that part of the reason it wasn't really working out was because I wasn't blending the edge at all. I was kind of packing it on with, say, a Packer shader brush, and then trying to go in with the lighter colors and find a way to get that harsh line to blend. But of course, if you already have such a stark harsh line, it's gonna be hard to start to get it to fade. So I think what I have to do is really focus on blending out each shade as I go, and then just adding the shades that are lighter and the blender shades just slightly above this. I hope that makes sense. If you're willing to try out doing the darker shade first, because I know it's always easier to do the lighter shades, definitely try making sure you really blend and buff each color as you go. Since this shade isn't the amount of green that I wanted, it definitely has a green tinge to it, but it does pull slightly blue or teal. So I'm going to go in and add a little bit of a shimmer color, mainly because this is the only other green, like deep green color. And so this one is Trickery, and it's just kind of like an emerald green. Hopefully you guys can see it. And I'm going to layer this on top, just to add more of a green tone to this shadow. Hopefully you guys can tell it doesn't make a huge difference, and it definitely isn't going to be everybody's cup of tea. I wish it wasn't a shimmer shade just because I wanted to add that green without adding that sparkle, but that's fine. I want to stick to these two palettes, so I am going to just work with what I have. And right now I'm just going to buff and blend around the outer corner, or outer edge rather, of the shadow, just to again make it smooth so that when I apply the next shade it doesn't cling or grab in any weird area. But now that I have some of that color, I'm just going to wipe that off so that that pigment doesn't mix with the next color. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Potion, which is this shade right here. It's kind of a army green, or I don't know what you call that, like a khaki green. Pick that up. I'm taking a fluffier brush now and just going around the edges and slightly on top of where we have that first color. I will say that I'm noticing that this color is deepening a lot, so it's not giving me as light of a blend as I wanted. I wouldn't prefer to use that as my transition shade, so I'm gonna probably layer another color on top just to lighten it up, because I don't want this to be that dark and smoky. I do want to lighten this up, and I do want to add a bit of pop to the brow bone. So I think I'm going to take VIP, which is the shade right here, and use that as my brow bone highlight. It is a shimmer, but I don't mind a shimmer brow bone highlight. And I'm going to kind of bring this on top of that green. I did bring my colors up a little bit high today, and I don't want them to be that high up, so that I still have space for my brow. So I'm going to kind of pull this down over that second green that I applied, just to bring it down slightly. I'm losing a lot of that green. I think it's just way too close in color as far as like depth of color to the first shade, so it's really just starting to blend into one, and I'm not really happy with that. I'm not mad at it, but at the same time I did want a lot more differentiation, so I'm gonna go in with Access, and that is this shade right here. I think it's showing up slightly more orange on camera, but it definitely is a yellow shade, and I'm taking that basically where I put that second shade Potion. And what that's gonna do, and what I'm noticing, is it doesn't really show up yellow because it's on top of that green. It's kind of gonna pull out those lighter green tones, so it's gonna give me more of that color that I originally wanted. What I think I'm going to do now, since I am kind of not liking how dark this is, I just don't normally go super dark. I feel like with my shadows, I tend to go like more of the median range, since my eyes are kind of small, so I don't like to go too dark. I think I'm going to try and lighten it up a bit with some shimmers. I'll take Trickery, which is this shade right here. And I'll start applying more of this to the lid. It's the same shade that we use over top, but using it by itself now a little bit is going to pop more green. And I need a color that's slightly lighter than the crease that will help blend into the lid. So now that I have that place, it doesn't have to be perfect, you just want to get some kind of color down. I'm gonna wipe off the brush, and I think what I want to use today is Coin, since that has a really greeny, I'm gonna cover it, the kind of a greeny gold base to it. I think that that's gonna look really nice with this dark green look. So I'm gonna pick up that shade and really just pack it on. I'm gonna pull it over the second shade Trickery just to kind of fade it out and blend it out. and I think that actually looks really nice. I like that. I typically don't apply shadow, like shimmer shadow, to my lid with a brush. I do feel like it's going on nice and pigmented. I don't know how well it's translating to camera. In person, it's showing up really nice. But I want to try it with my finger, mainly because I want to see, like right now, it's showing like that sparkly glitter type of look. I want to see if I can get it with my finger to look more foiled, like how it looks when you finger swatch it. So I'm just going to apply, oh wow, okay. That looks so cool. Wow. Real quick note on the shimmers, because I know a lot of people like to bash them when they only apply good with your fingers. I don't think that these only apply good with your fingers. I think they give a really pretty look with the brush, but if you want that extra pop, applying it with your fingers makes it really, really intense. And to be honest, most shimmers and most shimmer shadow formulas really will apply best with your finger. I have rarely found a shimmer shadow formula, if at all, that looks better with a brush than it does with a finger. I feel like your fingers really push in the pearlescent pigment and just really kind of heat it up and smooth it out better than a brush ever could. So in my opinion, these aren't bad at all. I really, really do like the shimmers. Oh my gosh. Sorry guys. So I'm actually trying to get my boyfriend to get on a skincare routine. He is not a fan of skincare and all of that crazy stuff. He's one of those people like, I just wash my face in the shower with like my body soap, it's fine. No. So I'm trying to get him on a skincare routine, and he's messaging me telling me that he did all the steps, and I'm just like, I'm so proud of you. He said, thank you for this enlightening revelation of face and skincare. You are welcome, my babes. Off camera, I decided that I wanted to do some colored liners just to make this pop, since again, this is a lot darker than I typically go. So I'm going to use two different shades. This is Vivid Halo and Vivid Escape eyeliners by NYX. And I'm taking Vivid Halo, which is the yellow. I already did my right side, so let's see if I can get this one to go okay. I want to do this on the inner half crease of my eye. Now that that's placed, I think I'm going to go ahead with Vivid Escape, and I'm going to do this like I would a normal eyeliner. So just doing it along here. If you get some of this liner on your lashes like I do, you can just kind of twist it off once it dries, because these aren't really made to stay on your lashes, so they do come off pretty easily. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up underneath my eyes, do my foundation and concealer and powder, and then I'll come back and show you guys what I did for the rest of my face and for my brows. Now that all of that is placed, I can go ahead and do the rest of my eyes and my brows, but I'm just going to mention what I used on my face. So for my foundation and concealer, I actually am using a new foundation. This one is by Hard Candy. It's the Glamouflage Full Cover 16-Hour Wear Foundation. And this is one that I'm not really sure whether I think it's worth it or not, because even though it's only $6 from the drugstore, it is only 0.67 fluid ounces, and I do think that there's a learning curve with it. So I am going to play with it some more. I am in the shade Olive, and once I play with it some more, I'll give you guys a more in-depth review and my opinions on it. So that is what I have on my face. Then I have my NYX HD Studio Photogenic Foundation in beige. They actually came out with a Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation. I saw it on the Platinum Perks thing that they post, or just like the early release thing that they give. So I actually may pick that up, but I do love this concealer, and I use that underneath my eyes today and throughout the center of my face. Then I powdered with normal. If you watch my channel, you know I just mix a crap ton of different powders to get one that works for me. So I have that on my skin. For my bronzer, I have my NARS Casino. I am trying to use this up, so that is why I'm using it. It's really, really old, but I do really like it, and it's super expensive, so I'm trying to use it up. So that's what I have as my bronzer. And for my blush, I have my e.l.f. Pressed Mineral Blush in Jet Setter. So that's what I have as my blush. And then last thing, I think I put it away by accident, I have my JCat Studio Luxe Pro Powder in Pearl. So that's what I have. It's just a loose pearl highlighter. And that is that. So now I'm gonna go ahead and do my, sorry, my hair always gets like itchy right here. Is that anybody else? But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and do my lower lash line, and I'm going to use the NYX Jumbo Pencil in Rocky Mountain Green. I don't really love the NYX Jumbo pencils as much as I used to for my lid, but I love using them as a base underneath my eye, because I find that shadow just has a hard time sticking down here for me. I think it's because of my dry lids and things. So I find that using these type of bases really help get the shadow to stick for me and just kind of pop. But you do have to make sure that you only use a thin layer. So after you apply it, go through and just buff it out. For this, I think I'm gonna use a shimmer, like that Trickery shade, because I do want this to stay pretty bright. I don't want it to go super dark like it did on the top. So I think I'm gonna take Trickery, which is again that shimmery green. And I'm going to place this on top of that pencil. Make sure when you are doing your lower lash line, you kind of tap it onto the base first and then go and blend it out. I find that if I just go in and blend out, it will kick up so much powder into the, like into my eye. And it really doesn't matter what shadow it is, like what formula, it always does that. And I'm using a thick shader brush just so that I can really buff it out. Now that I have that, I'm going to highlight the inner corner of the eye. I think I was thinking about using this shade Power Cut just to do a different shade, but I don't want this to go too cool since I do have a lot of that gold. So I think I'm just going to use Coin again, and then I might layer VIP. Is it VIP? Yeah. I might layer VIP on top just in a second, depending on how this looks. Okay, so that's really pretty actually. I do like that. But I don't always love highlighting with the same shade that I use on my lid. So I think I'm going to go ahead. Oh, and I always use my finger when I do this. I don't know why, because it's harder I think to use your finger for the inner corner just to like fit it in there, but I just like the way that it sticks better. So I'm just putting VIP right on top of that Coin shade. Just like that. And that's going to be the highlight for my inner corner. Now the last step for the eyes is to do mascara, and I'm actually not going to use lashes today. I still have that eyeliner. Let me take that off real quick. Like I said, you just kind of roll along the end of your lash and that'll pull off that that eyeliner rather. And it works, I think, with any eyeliner. Typically, the eyeliner doesn't stick to the lash the same way mascara does, so it does roll off pretty easily. But I don't want to do lashes today since I do have this colored liner. I have done colored liner with lashes before, but I find that it takes away from the color. So I'm going to just do mascara and just do a bunch of coats of mascara. So I'm curling my lashes really, really well, so that my little struggle lashes can actually show up. Then I'm going to use my L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise and apply a bunch of coats of this. So this is what we're looking like now with no brows, and I zoomed in slightly so that you guys can see what I'm doing a little bit easier. And my brow pencil that I'm going to use today is actually on its last life, so don't mind it. I actually broke the tip, so it's just kind of hanging in there by a thread. But this is one of my favorites. It's the LA Girl Shady Slim Brow Pencil. To me, it's pretty much like any other slim brow pencil, like the NYX one. Anastasia has one that's really popular. There's so many of these, but this one is really nice, and it's inexpensive, so I do like it. I have it right now in the shade Blackest Brown. I also use Espresso, I believe, but this part really doesn't matter. This is just to get your guideline. So the way that I do my brows is I kind of follow my natural orbital bones. You can see where I have just a protrusion, I guess, where my brow bone kind of sticks out, and then where it kind of curves. That is what I'm going to follow for my brows. You can create different shapes and do different things when you have no brows, but I prefer to just follow my natural like orientation of my face, so that I don't have to worry about it being super uneven or spending so much time trying to get them even, since this is just gonna follow just my face. So I kind of start right here. My natural brow starts right about here, so I kind of bring it, I'd say, halfway up, so like right around the middle of where my natural brow would be. And I just kind of create a line, and as you can see, I'm just following the curve. And this doesn't have to be perfect. Just like that. And that's your starting point of your brow. Now, when you have no brows, it is very, very important that each step that you do, you follow along on the other side. You don't want to go in and create a whole brow on this side and then try and match this one. Each step, so I draw a line here, then I draw a line here. Then I start creating the hairs here, creating the hairs here. You want to go step by step on each side so that you don't end up with wonky brows. So for this, I kind of just lay my pencil, not actually on my skin, but just slightly above my skin, and then I go right across, kind of touch down, and that's where I will start my other brow. And do the same thing. Also, try to remember that whole sisters not twins thing. You don't want to sit here and like spend 50 years on your brows, because realistically you're never going to get them perfect, because your face, even though it's symmetrical, is not perfectly 100% identical. You do have, you know, differences between the two sides. So now I'm going to go in with a brow pomade. This one is by e.l.f. It's in the shade light brown, but I have a bunch of brow pomades that I use, and I kind of go depending on the color that I want to do, like if I want to do a deep brow or a light brow. Today I kind of want to go a little lighter since the rest of my makeup is kind of dark, so depending on the color is the one that I'll use, but any brow pomade would work. I also really recommend adding kind of a liquid product to it, which is either an oil, or I like the Inglot Duraline, and I just mix it into this to create more of a, as you can see, like whipped texture or liquid texture. I like it to be as thin as humanly possible. Now, most brow pomades will be like this when you first get them, but over time they will dry out. So Inglot Duraline or even an oil will work really nice to just thin out the product so you can get those really fine hair strokes. And today I'm going to use my BH Studio Pro 13 brush. Any brush will work, but just you want it to be super thin and flat on the end. So the way that I do this is the longer end of the angle I put at the bottom, and I kind of just flick up, and I kind of do it at an angle, so going outwards towards the perimeter of my face. And I don't start right at the front. I kind of go in slightly first. You want to start creating hair. And they don't have to be super like put together just yet. You're gonna keep going and adding product and building. But after you do a few strokes, you want to go in and add more product to your brush. You don't want to go in and just keep going and not adding product. Now that you have that place, again, you just keep kind of creating strokes. You want to do different levels of pressure so it creates these kind of hair-like marks. Then you want to go in and really thin out your brush as much as you can with that product. And I do the front going straight up. So I kind of just do the same thing, but instead of at an angle, I just bring it straight up. And I will bring the straight up motion through just the first beginning portion of my brow where I have those more angled strokes. So it definitely starts to look more like an actual brow. Now, you may notice that some of the product kind of comes down, so you can just use your highlighter or even a concealer if you want, and just kind of go over that, really clean it up. I also will go over that line, that first line that we did, with the brow pomade, especially if it's like today where I'm using a super light pomade but I have like a darker base on the bottom. So just kind of do that. Then I kind of flick up at that line too, because you want to blend the most at that line. You want it to look very filled and faded and then have the hair-like strokes coming from that. So I kind of just pull up slightly, and that's it. That's all you do to get a natural brow with no brows. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other one off of camera, and then I'll come back and do the lips and we'll be done with this look. Real quick, I actually lied. I wanted to just tell you guys, this is where you can stop if you like. I tend to stop here a lot of the times, but I did also want to show you what you can do to even further create a natural look. So what you can also do, and you can use this with a brow pomade, or you can do this with just another brow pencil, but take a color that's darker than your base color. So if this is the base of my brow, I'm just going to take a darker color. I'm going to use this pencil and just create those hair strokes with that pencil in that color, and it's going to create a two-toned effect. Hopefully you guys will be able to see. So it will start to look even more natural because you have those dimension of different colors and different like tones in your hair. Because obviously, as you can probably tell, unless you dye your hair, there's different tones, the light catches it differently. Like, it doesn't all look one seamless color. So you want to add that in with product so that it doesn't kind of look fake. So this is what I do to get a natural brow, and it's super easy. You can do this honestly in 3 minutes if you're really good at it, or you know, you can take longer on it if you want to, but that is how I get a natural brow. So let's move on to the lips. Went ahead and zoomed you guys back out a bit for the lips. Right now I only have my little EOS lip balm. I always use those. I like the way they feel and I like the way other products go on top of them, but I do have a lot on, so I'm just gonna kiss the back of my hand just to make it so that it's just a thin layer. And for my lip liner today, I'm gonna use the Wet n Wild Color Icon in Chestnut, and I'm just doing a light amount of this. Mainly, I like to use the lip liner to get a sharper lip line, or I like to use it to add color and depth, but today I don't really want to add too much color. So do that, kind of kiss your lips together to blend it slightly, and do the same on the top. Once you have your lip liner on, you can go ahead with your color. Today I'm actually going to use one that I got at TJ Maxx, and this is MAC Studio. I see this all over TJ Maxx. I don't know where else you can get it, but it's a very pretty like orangey peachy nude, and that's kind of the tone that I want. Since the eyes are super cool, but they have that pop of gold, I want to go a little bit peachier. So this one is Life is Better Nude, and it's just a nude peachy color. And if you do find these at your TJ Maxx, definitely pick it up because these are actually really good liquid lips. They take a little bit longer to dry down than some other ones, but they're super inexpensive, and honestly, you can build up the color really, really nice. Like, look at that, so pretty. And it's actually showing up a whole lot more intense and bright in camera than it does in person. In person, it's just a medium rosy nude, or peachy nude. Since this is showing up a lot brighter in camera, I'm going to try and tone it down a bit. So I'm going to take a little bit of my NYX eyeshadow base. This one I actually just used for my lips. I take a little bit of the product and I scoop it out onto the back of my hand so that I don't mix any color into it. And then I just pick that up, and especially if you're using a liquid lipstick, while it's still wet or slightly wet, just go in and tap it in, and hopefully this lightens it a little bit so it doesn't look super bright with these eyes. Alrighty, my love, so we are at the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it thus far. I hope you like to see my new brow routine and play with some colors today. I actually wanted to just do a quick mention. If you are interested in trying out the Jaclyn Hill Vault collection, try it out. I was super nervous with people, you know, giving different reviews. Some people loved it, some people hated it. You know, it was really controversial. You know, the way the company handled it was not that great. But I definitely think that the way that I got it is the way that I'm happy with getting it. I had $50 in rewards. It was on a 4 for $49 promo, and I was able to pick up all of these without having to worry about a return policy issue because I could get it from Ulta. So I definitely think that if you are able to get it in the manner that I got it, which is basically a no or low risk purchase of these palettes, I definitely recommend trying them out. Do I think they'll work for everybody? No. They're not the easiest shadows to work with. There are definitely other brands and other formulations out there that are easier to use, but they are a palette and a formulation that I don't think is super hard. I think Subculture, and I keep referencing that because that was the other palette that was really, you know, prone to having issues, and a lot of people had, you know, complications using that, but Subculture is way harder to use than this, and I still love Subculture. But definitely check these out if you are in the market and you are willing to try it. I don't want to rave about it because, again, I don't think that the release was handled properly, but I do think that they are still good and they are still worth checking out if you're interested. If not, no big deal, no issue. Definitely just like pass on them and go find something else that you'd enjoy. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this look. It was really fun for me to do. I got to play with some color today and really go out of my box with liners and things. So hope you guys enjoyed, hope you love. Thumbs this video up if you enjoyed it and would like to see more from me. Hit that subscribe button and the bell down below, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye everybody.